Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for jumping into another video with me. My name is Josh and I'm an average Joe day trader. Guys, have you ever wondered what exactly the S&P 500 is and how it works? And is there anything that you can do to sort of make money in a down S&P 500 run short of doing options? See, I'm not an options trader. I don't like to do options trading. But there is a way for you to make money when the S&P 500 obviously is running up. That's going to be in day trading, your normal day trade stocks that I love to be in and out of. APLD, Ford, Wolf, WOLF, WULF. Okay, just to name a few. SoundHound, Serve Robotics. Okay, those are just a few of the ones that I love to trade daily. But have you ever wondered how to make money in a down S&P 500 run? I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this video, because if you didn't know how this works, I'm hoping to share this information with you to give you a little bit of education in our S&P 500. First of all, the S&P 500 is basically comprised of over 150, I think it's 157 different companies that can affect the S&P 500's performance up or down based on their own specific performance. We've been seeing that this week with earnings. There's several companies that have been reporting earnings that have not been very successful or had positive results. And so in those runs, when they have negative impact on the S&P 500, the S&P 500 runs down. So let's go ahead and take a look for a minute at the S&P 500. Okay, I'm going to pull up the chart here. And so what you guys are now seeing is, in fact, today, our S&P 500. Let's go to the 15-minute, and you can see how the S&P 500 runs. All right. And good, bad, indifferent, right? Ups, down, all over the place. There's downs, there's ups, okay? Pre-market, post-market, ups and downs. Okay, the S&P 500 is a volatile group of stocks, because when people say I'm in the stock market, generally what they mean is they're in the S&P 500. They're not really talking about like I'm trading in the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones, and there's a lot of hedge funds and companies that trade all the way around across the whole stock market. But as a retail day trader, the stock market is the S&P 500. That's where we sort of live. We compare all of our stocks against the S&P 500. I could pull up any of the stocks I typically day trade and show you that they relatively run similarly to the S&P 500. Matter of fact, I have on my charts, okay, and I don't have it on these because this is S&P 500 based, but generally you can see the S&P 500 as a yellow line on my charts. And if you've watched my other videos, you know that I have this versus. So you can go up here in Webull on your trader account, go to versus, you pick the S&P 500, and now you see here, look, this yellow line right here basically is showing exactly what's happening by trend for the S&P 500, and you can see how it tracks down, it's tracking up, okay, and that's how I like to use that. But here's the thing about the S&P 500 that many people don't know. So I have my watch list set. It's called SPY Runs. Now, what if I told you that you could make money, okay, with the S&P 500 without having to pay $550 per share? There's not many people that are like, hey, woke up today, I'm a retail trader, give me 100 shares of the S&P 500. Okay? Not everybody has that type of powder available to them, okay? Money on the sidelines, just sitting and waiting to dump into the market. Okay? $550 times $100 times 100 shares. So, here's what I want to show you. There are three things you always can look at with the S&P 500. Number one, the actual S&P 500. So understand what the S&P 500 is doing. I don't get in and out of a trade without seeing clearly what the S&P 500 is doing. And I also look at the S&P 500 every night, pretty much before I go to bed, to see how did it close, how is it running through post-market, what do I believe it's going to open up in pre-market, and that's the first thing I look at in the morning when I get up is the S&P 500. Okay, that's me, guys. Not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you my routine. What do I do as a retail day trader? Now, there's two other stock tickers here. The QQQ, which is the Invesco QQQ Trust. And if you click on that, you're going to say, Josh, what happened? Did you click on the QQQ? Because it's identical to the SPY. Well, yeah, guys, it's identical to the SPY. The QQQ generally runs exactly with the S&P 500. If the S&P 500 is running up, the QQQ is running up. Okay? And while it's not much cheaper, okay, from $550 per share to right now $471 per share, it could be the changing difference for somebody to say, I could afford to buy some QQQ shares today, okay, and not have to be actually trading the SPY, but I'm going to trade QQQ, okay? The other thing, and this is where what I really wanted to show you guys, is you've got the SQQQ. Now, let's do this again. SQQQ is on my charts right now. The QQQ is running down, okay? So this is basically your, for lack of a better term, it's your bullish SPY. So when SPY is running up, QQQ is running up. Obviously it can be bearish too because it's running down, or it's bullish running up, same as SPY. But let's go back to the SQQQ. The SQQQ is the opposite of the SPY. So when the SPY is running down, like you see here, the SQQQ is running up. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. You have a great opportunity to make some money in the SQQQ because when you know the SPY is going down, and there's those predictions, you see it hit, say, a level of resistance, and it was rejected, and now it's running down, well, you could literally jump into the SQQQ and purchase shares, and while the SPY is running down, the SQQQ won't fail you because it's going opposite direction, is going to run up. Let's use this morning as an example, okay? Here is 8:15 in the morning, and you can trade.
1 hour later.
So when you're looking at the SQQQ, guys, and you want to jump in and make some money at $31.84, whatever this happens to be at the time, you know that literally pre-market, you could have gotten into this at 8:30, 8:45, right? 8:30 in the morning, it opened at 31.82 and had a run all the way up here. And then you see your double tweezer top, but ran all the way up top here and closed at $33.62. Okay? So, you know, $2-3 a share is pretty good for any stock, right? I mean, we as retail day traders are happy to get into a stock that we're day trading, and you have to go heavy on how many shares you buy. So you buy 10,000 shares of a stock and you make 20 cents or 30 cents a share. Well, that's, you know, some pretty amazing life-changing money. But you can get into this one, and in essence, as long as you're understanding your candlestick patterns and your resistance levels, then you can actually make money, you know, through the SQQQ and at a couple dollars per share. So let's do this real quick, guys, since we're together. Let's go ahead and go to the 1 hour. All right, and I'm going to kind of draw this back out a little bit. I'm going to draw this one back out a little bit. Okay, and let's go ahead and do our, basically our resistance lines and support lines. Okay, so first thing I do, if you guys have been on any of my other videos, or you know how I draw my lines, I've got my blue drawings lit up. I click on horizontal, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to start at my very top right now, and I use my magnet. So when I hit on the actual candle and I click on it, it's going to lock in place for me on those candles. And you can see that it hit the very top of the candle, not the tweezer top, not the wick. Okay, I like to know where was the actual level of resistance, even though it tried to break through. So this is our current level of resistance for the SPY, 554.90, and that's been about where we've been at, 550, 550, 550, 544 is the top of that wick, so 554.90. And then we'll go ahead, and since we're zoomed in here for the last few days, so let's go ahead and put our support line down here, and we're going to lock it in place on the candle. Okay, and this is our red. Please do not break through and go lower than this level. And I'm going to change this one to my support line being yellow. And you guys know usually my colors, red, yellow, and blue. I can't make it a blue because this is not the sky's the limit yet. But let's kind of go and make it a little bit bigger. And we're going to pull left. And now we see, okay, let's get rid of the auto function. We're going to see that up here I have, more of opportunity. So now we're going to create another one. And I'm not going to be as aggressive. Let's go here. Let's do the top of this wick. Okay. And we're going to change that to blue because we're hoping that we get to that point. All right. And then we're going to close it back up. Go back to auto. We're going to pull over here. Okay. And now we know what we're fighting for. All right. Is there a lot more down here? Absolutely. But right now, in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days, we've lived in here. So we're going to stay in here. You could continue to draw other lines, but here's where we're at. Now, here's one thing I do want to share with you guys. Okay. Generally speaking, and if you're an options trader, you live by this. Day traders, you shouldn't be using candlesticks alone. You should know your support and resistance lines. Or options traders specifically, you should really be using this. When you hit that support line and you start to see multiple candles wicking or trying to fight through your resistance line, it's probably not going to go. And then you know it's going down. So options traders know when I hit a level of resistance, that's when they buy puts. And they're betting that it's going back down. Okay. Well, you can kind of see this here, right? I mean, a little bit tougher on this resistance level, but on the support level, I can buy calls all day long because I can see, look, okay, made it up here, broke through and continued up, came here, came down and rejected right to my support line. So now support's holding it, support's bouncing. Well, guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles later, what did it do? It went back up. So a lot of options traders will buy calls, okay? And a lot of options traders do zero DTE trade calls, which is very risky and I don't love. But anyway, that's how options traders typically look at, making money as day traders per se. All right, so guys, now you know what the SQQQ is, the QQQ, and how it works with the SPY. I hope this video has helped you guys out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Hey, drop a comment and let me know, hey, if I missed something. There's no such thing as not being able to continue to be educated. Hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And guys, I hope you're having a successful green market day. Even when the market's running down, you can still be green. Just learn the trades. All right, guys. Hope you have a great day. Josh out. Peace.